Hey, Dr. David Jockers here, Doctor of Natural Medicine, and today we're talking about a plant-based ketogenic program to help your body prevent or reverse cancer. And so we know that cancer is basically fast cell reproduction. It's characterized by cells that are reproducing quickly, and it's kind of like making a copy of copies, right? And so when we make that first copy, it looks like the original copy. But if we continue to make copies and copies and copies and using the copy of the copy, we end up with a lot of blurriness. And so we always want to use the original pattern. And this is what happens. When we get fast cell reproduction, we end up a lot of blurry or abnormal cells. Cells are just not functioning normally. And so what ends up causing this? It's really associated with oxidative stress and inflammation in our body. And what is that associated with? It's associated with blood sugar dysregulations. And that's why we want to use a ketogenic diet, because a ketogenic diet and lifestyle is going to help stabilize our blood sugar and reduce insulin. Insulin is a hormone that takes sugar out of the bloodstream, puts it in the cells. But when we have high insulin, because we keep overstimulating our body with too much sugar and too much carbohydrate, insulin's going to start to signal more inflammation in our body. And insulin's also going to start to signal more cell reproduction. So the higher our insulin levels, the more inflammation, the more cell reproduction we have take place. So we definitely need to make sure we're doing a very low carb diet, high fat. Why high fat? Because fat does not stimulate inflammation, does not stimulate insulin. Okay, so fat is anti-inflammatory, and it also will reduce your insulin levels. So it'll slow down cell reproduction. And we need fat for really healthy cells, so we need those healthy fats. Now, the other thing about this approach is that we're also going to do a low protein diet. The reason why is that when we consume protein, protein stimulates a genetic pathway called mTOR, mammalian target of rapamycin. Now, this mTOR pathway is very important if we're trying to build lean body tissue. Like if we want to increase our muscle mass and our strength and our power, we need to stimulate the mTOR pathway. However, if our main goal is to prevent cancer, or if we're dealing with cancer, we need to actually inhibit this mTOR pathway because it's already hyperactive. It's already working on overdrive. And there's another pathway called IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1, which is also associated with muscle growth and development. But if it's hyperactive, it's going to cause too much cell reproduction. So what do? We lower the protein level. By that, what I mean is this, is that typically on a ketogenic diet, I recommend about 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight. I'm about 160 pounds, which is equivalent to about 72 to 73 kilograms of body weight. So in general, I would consume about 72 to 73 grams of protein. Now, to gain muscle, I might actually even go up to about 1.5 grams or 1.6 grams of protein per kilograms of body weight, which would be around close to 100, 110 grams of protein for me, for my body. Okay, now, if I'm trying to shut down the mTOR pathway, I actually want somewhere between 0.5 to 0.7 grams per kilogram of body weight. So what is that going to be? It's going to be like 34, it's going to be roughly in the 30s, so 30 to maybe up to like 45 grams of protein per day. And if I've got really fast growing cancer, like metastatic cancer, then I want to get even lower. I want to go 0.3 to 0.5 grams per kilogram of body weight. So that's going to be like 25 to 30 grams of protein basically spread out throughout the day. So the best approach for this high fat, low protein, low carbohydrate diet is a plant-based ketogenic diet. What does that mean? That means basically we take out meats, okay? Now, I am a fan, it's not necessarily vegan, I'm a fan of doing grass-fed butter, so butter from grass-fed cows, because it's rich in CLA, great source of fat-soluble retinol, vitamin A retinol, really good source of vitamin D, vitamin K2, choline, all these really powerful nutrients for our immune system. So I am a fan of doing that. So grass-fed butter is great. But if we take meat out, meat is higher in protein, and particularly the muscle protein is more insulogenic. So it can stimulate insulin, which again is associated with cell reproduction. So We go with plant-based foods. So we're gonna use seeds like hemp seeds or chia seeds, or maybe like a pea protein or something like that to get the protein. And we're gonna do kind of small amounts of protein, maybe twice a day, okay? And so we also wanna incorporate things like intermittent fasting and extended fasting for multiple days. That can really help with cancer prevention, as well as just reducing metastatic or fast-growing cancer cell growth as well. But a plant-based keto diet is really the best approach that I've found from a nutrition perspective to use food as medicine in order to shut down the insulin pathway as well as the mTOR pathway and stimulate something called our AMPK pathway. An AMPK pathway helps our cells become more resilient to stress. On top of that, it actually shuts down something called vascular endothelial growth factor and reduces blood supply to the cancer cells. And on top of that, it actually helps divert any sort of sugar or glucose in the bloodstream towards normal healthy cells. So it restricts the main fuel source that cancer cells run on. When cancer cells are not getting enough sugar, they get really weak. Why? Because they use the sugar, the glucose, to produce an antioxidant defense system around the cell. So if they are not getting enough of that, they can't produce this defense. And now it's easier for our immune system to go in, hunt out, regulate, and destroy those cancer cells. And we shut down the genetic pathways that are associated with their growth. So it's really the best of both worlds there. And the good thing is, on a plant-based ketogenic diet program, there are great recipes. Like what we do is we replace steak with cauliflower steak. So you can actually do with cauliflower, we use a lot of things like guacamole and pestos, whether it's a hemp seed pesto or a pumpkin seed pesto, using a lot of olives and olive oil. And so these are really, really great recipes that taste excellent, that really will help satiate your body so you won't be hungry, you won't have sugar cravings, you'll feel satiated, you'll feel good, and you'll be shutting down these cancer pathways. And so try it out for yourself, a plant-based ketogenic diet program. I'd recommend everybody do something like that for a week, okay? I don't think it's gonna hurt anybody, it's gonna benefit you. Do it for a week, right? If you're trying to prevent cancer, do it longer. If you're going to, if you've got fast-growing cancer, do it until you are, until you're declared cancer-free. And so if you do that, I think you're gonna see great success. And again, this is not a substitute for conventional medical treatment. It's not a substitute for chemotherapy, radiation, or natural approaches like IV vitamin C, hyperbaric oxygen, things like that. But it's a great modality to use with those things. It's a foundational lifestyle program that you can use with those things to help your body heal faster and overcome cancer or prevent it if that's your goal.